All right, let's make an open Santorini with handles all the way down and a contrast bottom. This was a special email request from someone, and I'm just going to show you how simple it really is. I will be using my Santorini acrylic templates in purse size, and let's just get right into it. For my main, this is the main template piece. So the upper part of the bag, I'm going to be using this jungle vinyl. So for the exterior, I need 2 pieces. And with this kind of an abstract print, I don't worry about direction so much. If it was super apparent, I would worry. But it's abstract, so who cares? Okay, there's my 2 uppers. Now let's see, I'm gonna do my bottom contrast in this cork. We're gonna bring this back in stock. It's on the way. It's not currently in stock, but it will be soon. And I've got a bit of a salvage issue going on here. So I'm gonna cut that away, 2 pieces. There's one. And I could have peeled the brown paper away, but I don't often take the time to do that. All right, so we've got those out, the exterior pieces cut. And because we're here, let's just sew these together right now. So right sides together. These clips, because we're using vinyl. I don't have to interface these pieces because this vinyl and cork has good body. If I was using quilting cotton, I would absolutely interface, not only with SF101 or Cali-Del, but also probably with foam, this soft and stable foam, because I like to have a bag that stands up completely on its own. All right, let's go to the sewing machine. And I've got my Microtex 8012 needle in, and I've got blue thread in at the moment. Now I am using a 3mm stitch length. I'm gonna press that open in a minute. You can sew whichever side is more comfortable for you. This side I'll do the cork as up. All right, I'm gonna go back, and I like to press these, and often I'll use my hammer, my mallet, but I'll take you overhead, and I'm gonna press my seam allowance towards the bottom. And I'll flip it over, I can feel it there. And now I'm gonna top stitch on the cork. But because I like to be efficient, I'm gonna press this other side as well. Okay, now let's go back to the machine. I'm going to turn it up to a 4mm stitch length. You don't have to lock stitch if your machine doesn't make you, because the side seams get sewn again later. But if it's habit and if you want to, go right ahead. Okay, I'm going to grab my other piece. And again, that seam allowance is down, so I'm catching that seam allowance at the same time. Now, right away, I'm going to turn my stitch length back to 3. Let's go back to overhead. Now, usually once I put these pieces on, I have to come in and make sure everything is flush and even. It's just, I guess that's the way I sew. I'm kind of haphazard. So I like to trim everything up perfectly. That side looks pretty good. Okay. That's what I love about the Santorini tote pattern. It's not like trimming a little bit is going to ruin the pattern. It's absolutely fine. You're fine. Okay, so here are our outer pieces. Now, for your handles, you can do whatever you want, but I'm going to use my jacquard webbing. This is the 1.5 inch. And I'm going to make the handle about this long. So because I like to sew this way, this is what I do. I cut one and then I match them up. And then I'm going to cut the other. And then I know they are exactly the same length. I started with 3 yards of webbing and this is what I have left. Okay. So now we're going to sew these on. We have to measure twice, cut once type situation when we apply handles. The thing with a handle is you don't want it to twist in the wrong way. That's a common mistake for beginner sewers. I made it, and I don't want you to make it. Now I'm going to measure over 4 inches and see if I like that placement. Yeah, I think that's gonna look nice. Check that out. Now, because I can't put pins up here, you can either use double-sided sticky tape to hold it in place, or you can use sew-tight magnets. You just don't want it pulling, so make sure that your web is not pulling. And make sure that it is exactly straight up. So I'm going to bring this back over to this edge and make sure that this top is also 4 inches in before I start putting magnets down. I'm going to use all different styles to show you that all different styles work. These are the HD here. I have an affiliate link for you if you want to get any of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like this one shifted a little bit, so I got to make sure this is good. We don't want any curving action going on. Okay, so there's one ready to sew. But before I do that, I'm going to apply the other one. 2, 3, 4. There we go. That's a genius idea, Rom. Thank you. This guy, I just kind of slide under there and it finds its mate. I like to put them in the middle so that I can sew while they're still attached. Let's see if these hold. Yeah. I'm going to put another one down here. Okay, now I want to make sure this is not twisted. It looks good. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to line our template up on this to help us out. And that's where the edge of our webbing goes. Oh, I shouldn't have moved that. I don't know why I did that. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. This is the Sew Tights Light. I'm going to see if that'll go through the vinyl. Looks like it will. I bought the Sew Tight magnetic system for hanging up quilts, and I have it in the shop. If you come here, you can see how that looks. It's really slick. Ramel mounted it to the wall, right? Did you have to screw something into the wall?
Yeah, the metal plate.
Just like a bracket or something. And then the quilt is held up with big magnets. So I can switch it out on my own without having to call Ramel to save the day, which is nice. Okay, now we are going to sew this down. I'm going to use a 3mm stitch length. Everything as normal. Let's go to the machine. My thread, my thread came out of my needle. Darn it. How did I do that? All right, here we are. Now, if you have an extension table underneath to put on here, put it there because it'll hold the bag even for you, and that's much better than what I'm doing. Mine is at home. Now, I did forget to mark where I'm going to stop sewing. We can't sew all the way up to the top. So what I'm going to do is grab some chalk and I'll make a little marking because we need to stop early. So right about there. So I'm almost there. An inch down. And then I'll do this side. Let's go overhead so I can do the other handles. An inch down from that top raw edge. Because we will have to push the webbing down out of the way when we put the bag together. And there's my marking. Needle down, lift my foot, pivot. One side. Now this side, because, let me move my machine over a little bit. I want to show you this. I need to kind of roll this up because I don't have a super deep throat space here on this machine. So I do have to roll it up on this side of it. Okay, good. We're up here. I can move this. Here we're coming up to the top here. There's my chalk line. One more. Needle down, lift the foot and pivot. Needle down, lift my foot, pivot again. So, there's one side. We're going to repeat that process for the remaining side. And Ramel can just fast forward through this on the tutorial. And I will move this back. All right, let's go overhead. Okay, we have got both of the exteriors done. Now, if you wanted to add a little pocket here, we can totally do that. I did see on this template, the writing is this way. This is for the large size, and I actually meant it to be right sides up like this. And that's okay, we can work with that. If we wanted to add this, I'm gonna show you what I would do. And you could always add it before you do your webbing. This is like a little cute cell phone pocket, okay? Get this out of the way. I'm gonna use some double-sided sticky tape. If I can find the edge, there it is. I like to have a top edge on my pocket. So it's real low pressure. All you have to do is fold this down, press it, and we're gonna top stitch this. Let's go to the machine. You can do it looking at whichever side you want to, it's fine. Vinyl never frays, so we don't have to worry about raw edges. That's why I love working with vinyl. Let's go overhead. Now you can put it here. You could even shorten it if you don't want it to eat up the cork. Just shorten it. It's fine. I kind of like that. Do you like that, Ramel?
Yeah.
Let's cut it. Ooh, I'm living dangerously. I'm not using a ruler. Does that look okay? You can probably tell I'm hungry. I hope you don't hear my stomach growling. Did Vicky tell you I had a bacon Gouda this morning? Because I couldn't stand it. I was so hungry. I don't know where that came from. There's that. There's that. Now we will just line that up at the bottom. There we go. I'm just gonna sew the side across the bottom and up the top. And like I said, you can absolutely do this wider and put it under the straps if you desire that. It's more layers, which is why I do it this way, but there's always more than one way to do something. You are not wrong if you do it in a different way. Okay, back overhead. And there's our cute little pocket. So let me find my snips. I'll trim my threads. Cool. All right, we're very close to being able to put the bag together, if you can believe it or not. I'm going to use water-resistant canvas for my inside because I want to be able to wipe it clean, and I don't want to have to use interfacing today because I'm in a hurry. Capiche? So let's cut both pieces at the same time. Our water-resistant canvas, we have rolls that are smaller and we have big chunky pieces like this. This is 36 by 58. So you can get a lot of bags out of this. I'm gonna grab my template. I'm not gonna be doing zipper pockets today. This is a just down and dirty, quick little beach bag in a sense. I really wanna turn this, but I'll just stand over here. There we are. Let me get that big hunk out of my way. And then I'll turn it. Make sure both pieces are lined up. There we are. Bring back my template. Okay. So in the Santorini tote, in that pattern, I show you how to put in big zipper pockets. You can go ahead and do that if you like. All right, I've got both of these pieces together, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut my corners because the Santorini has boxed corners. Now, if you have my template, I make this super easy for you. I have 1/2 inch and 1/4 inch templates, but I just sold my last one, and my personal one is at home. So I'll be doing it the old-fashioned way, which is measure and cut. I'm gonna line my ruler up 2.5 and 2.5. That'll make my bag 5 inches wide, and I'm good with that. That's fine. You can play around with your boxed corners on a Santorini tote because it will give it a slightly different shape, however big your boxed corners are. A lot of times I like 2-inch boxed corners the best for the look. But this one, I'm just gonna do it at 2.5 and make it really wide. I may regret it. Okay, so there's that one. Now this, I'm ready to rock and roll. I can sew my sides and bottom together and do my boxed corners. Let's do it. Let's go to the machine. I'm gonna take a slightly bigger bite because I want my lining to be super tight inside the bag. And on this Santorini, we're just making it super simple. Now here, because this edge and this edge are going to be part of the boxed corner, I always do a back and forth little sew there. Okay, we can leave that open for turning out later. Now you can turn it like this and keep sewing if you don't want to waste thread. You'll have to cut that apart in a minute. I'll show you. Let's go overhead. So because I chain piece in a sense, that corner, I have to snip it apart. Now we're gonna box our corners, match those seams up. Let's go to the machine, we're gonna sew it. There's one corner. Here's my other corner. Match that side seam and the bottom seam, make it flat. You can pin or clip if you want. Let's go back overhead. So now I've got a bag with a large opening in the bottom for turning right side out later. But you can see how this bag is taking shape. Okay. So let's do the same thing over here. We need the same size boxed corners. So again, 2.5 inches. I like to use what I already cut as a little template if I don't have my boxed corner template, which like I said, I don't. Mine is at home because I was sewing this last weekend. And oh, I didn't even draw it. This is going to be cut away, so it doesn't matter that I'm using a Bic pen. There's one. Now you can do one at a time. I've made 10 million bags, so I cut both layers at once. And I feel good about that. If it's too scary for you, don't do that. Cut them separately, it's totally fine. I will put some clips in to make sure nothing slides while I'm cutting. Okay, I've got these super sharp scissors. I'm cutting both exteriors at the same time. Okay. There we are. You can save these if you want to. They can be leaders and enders when you're sewing. All right. Now we're going to box the exterior after we sew the sides together. So again, you're going to take this and put this right sides together. And what is important here, really, really important, is that your webbings are more or less lined up pretty perfectly, as close as you can get it. Okay? Put on your clips. I line those babies up first. And then I do the sides, and I want to make sure these contrast areas are aligned. And I put a clip there. You can also use magnets. I make sure this side is lined up. See those edges? They're lined up. Put clips, magnets, whatever you want to use. Let me grab some of these babies. Oops. Okay, we're gonna sew the sides all the way across the bottom, and then we'll box our corners. Let's go to the machine. You don't want to backstitch too much on vinyl because it can perforate, so just a little bitty one. If your machine doesn't like that hump, smack it with your mallet. Do you want to see mine? This is it. If I had foam on here, I would have definitely smacked that seam first. But I don't have any foam or interfacing, so I knew my machine would be fine. All right, there's one side. We go all the way across on the exterior. Stop to remove clips. Back stitch at this point, because this is a boxed corner area. We don't want that seam pulling apart. Same for here. Forward, backward, forward, not too many times, just once. Now see how that foot kicked up that seam? So I just lift the foot, lay it back down, keep sewing. Okay, there we are. Let's go back overhead. All right, remember this part? You might have to come in from the top. There's my fingers. I'm gonna match those seams up. Now, because I back stitched, the seam is not pulling apart. If yours is, just go back and sew it again. It's not a big deal, you're fine. I am gonna put a little clip on those seams to kind of mash it down for the moment. We're gonna sew straight across that edge. Same thing for over here. Match those seams, nest them, That means one seam goes one direction, the other goes the other direction. Flatten it. We're going to sew straight across here. Let's go to the machine. If your seam is picking up, just lift your foot, make it flat again. Okay, now I've got this side. Right? So now we've got our 2 bags. Now, for this tutorial, I am not doing a top zipper because my email person, it looked like her bag was just an open tote. And I like that idea because I can show you how to do it very easily. The thing about it is we have to put our webbing inside. It has to be down away from this top edge because that's where we're going to sew these bags together. It has to be right sides together as well. So if you want to keep your bag like this, then your inside, you got to turn it so it's right side out. I'm going to push out my corners with my fingers. Okay, so now the right side is out and our right sides will be together. Capiche? Hey, I'm saying it a lot because this confused me as a new sewist back in the day. I was like, what? This is how a bag goes together? So I just want to be very clear. Now, if we go overhead, you can see that I am nesting my side seams first. So my outer seam is going that way, my inner is going this way, and then I'm going to move around to the other side and match those side seams and nest. It doesn't matter which way you want to do things. Doesn't matter. Just nest the seams so it's a little bit flatter and less bulky. And that, oh, look at that. My clip flew off. So there, we got to do that one. Okay. Now we're matching that top raw edges of both of them. And you can work your way around. Now, if these are not matching, it means your seam allowance is off somewhere. And it's not a big hairy deal. You just pull those bags apart, take them out of one another, and fix your seam allowances so they fit. Okay, top edge. Here we go. Okay, now we are ready to sew. Now this is on the bigger side. If you have a machine riser that can lift your machine up 6 inches, put it under your machine now. And by a riser, I mean I bought a wooden, sort of like a block, and it is meant to lift your machine up. And all that does is gives you more clearance when you're doing something like this in the round. So if you have that, you can do it. You could also just use really big, heavy hardcover books and lift your machine up a bit. It's a little tip. Now, when I start to sew around like this, because this edge will, when we turn the bags right side out, we'll see these edges. We'll see this top edge, right? I start from a side seam, just a smidge over from a side seam, like maybe a 1/2 inch, and then sew all the way around and back over. Because if I didn't sew perfectly or cut perfectly, I don't want a wrinkle in the middle of the bag somewhere where it's going to be really noticeable. It's not so noticeable in a side seam. You can kind of fudge it and hide it. So that's why I do that. Let's go to the machine. And this is what I mean. See how I'm starting over here? Just a little bit away from that side seam. There we go. Just a little bit of a back tack, lock stitch, whatever you want to call it. Looks like I put my clips on upside down. The flat edge should have been down, but whatever, I wasn't thinking about that. The webbing, I can feel a little bump here. It's tucked under. You're not sewing over any webbing. None. Stop every time you're getting close to a clip or it will bump you out. It's totally fine to have some of this lining poking out. I am fine with that. It'll just make my lining fit in the bag even tighter. It doesn't have to be perfect there. What has to be perfect is my sewing along this top edge. I don't want it all wavy and wonky. There's that one side edge. Keep going. I pushed a bunch of my clips off by accident. That's okay, I'm just gonna keep going. Hope for the best. We're almost there. Here we're coming up to this last little bit. No wrinkles. Whew, no wrinkles. Now, let me pick up this clip before I step on it. Okay, we're gonna pull the lining bag out. Remember, we've got that hole. I always have to take a breath before I birth a bag. Sometimes it can be sweat-inducing to turn a bag. If you know, you know. If you're in a very cold place, it can help to warm the vinyl up a little. Set it on your radiator or take a hairdryer to it if it's really a struggle to pull it through. I think we're gonna be okay. You just do it little by little. You can go overhead. Push it all out. It takes some time. Don't try to rush this or you can bust seams. I'm gonna put my arm in here. These are my fingers down here. If you need a tool, you can absolutely use a tool. I had my easy point and press here. Where'd that go? Oh, well, I've got a purple thing stick. I can push out my corners nice and crisp. Run it along those edges. Okay. Now for the other side. We're almost there. I'm going to do the same to these bottom corners. And now all I have to do is close this opening. And I'm not a stickler about this. I just machine sew this edge closed, all right? If you want to take the time to hand stitch, you can. It's your prerogative. I have so much stuff in my bag all the time, I never even see the bottom. You can press this if you need to. I'm just going to wing it. Okay, here we go. Let's go to the machine and sew this closed. Okay, back overhead. See, the white thread just melted in. The blue thread you can see, it's kind of like black, you just see it. Now, it does take some finagling here at the top. So I like to take my time here and get this edge straight because it will not naturally behave. You have to work it.
Use the mallet?
You can, but what I like to do best is just put some clips in here and let it sit while I work my way around. And then I top stitch and it's permanently in place and it's beautiful. But yes, you could absolutely use the mallet, especially if you're using foam. Renella is right. You want to use a mallet along this edge to flatten the seam even more. And this vinyl is pretty robust. This is my Jungle custom print vinyl, so it does not hold clip bite marks or anything like that, like some other vinyls will. So I don't have to put any padding along this where I'm putting my clips. Those marks come right out. It's absolutely fine. Ramel, have I been talking too much on this tutorial? I feel like I've been talking too much. Okay, see that? Now I'm going to push this inside. And if you're lining, if you want it even tighter, I have a whole video tutorial on how to make it even tighter. But after I get this pressed and everything's set, it's going to be really nice. It'll be great. Sometimes I'll even come in here and use my ham and this side seam, give it a whack. I am not even joking. Do this side. Just makes everything sit even better. All right, last little sewing bit here. Let's top stitch this baby. And again, I do the same thing. I start at a side seam a little bit over, 1/2 inch or so. Now, normally I would want to switch to a cream colored thread, but you won't be able to see what I'm doing if I do that. So we're just going to rock and roll with it. This part is personal preference. You can top stitch over this and have these always stitched down at this top edge, or you can move it out of the way and slide right by it. I'll do one strap one way and the other strap the other way. I am very close to that edge, like 1/8 of an inch. That's just my personal preference. You don't have to do that. And do whatever you want. You're the boss. The side seam here is thick, and that's why I press it with a hammer or the mallet. I need to stop saying hammer because if you use a regular carpenter hammer, you'll make little half moon crescent marks in your vinyl. So you do want a nylon mallet, and I sell those. I have them made for us. See this one? I'm pushing the webbing out of the way and sliding by it. I'm not pushing anything. My hands are just there as a guide. Here we come up to that side seam again, and we're back to where we started. Woo! We are done. All you have to do is trim your threads, and you have got an open tote based on my Santorini pattern. This is the purse size. Those are the templates I use, the purse size. Did you just see? We didn't cut anything, right? We're not going to cut anything. This is how fast it is. My skirt is sliding down because I'm so hot. Look how fast this is. Wouldn't this be fabulous as a craft show offering? You could even make it out of upcycled materials or patchwork it up. If you do the webbing handles, it's so fast, but you don't have to. You could make the handles out of fabric or vinyl, cork, whatever you want. What do you think? Ramella's yawning. There's my little sweet little pocket that's so incognito. Huh?
Coffee is calling.
Coffee is calling. I agree. So there we are. It could be your farmer's tote, your little shopping tote, whatever you want. Hey, if you have some requests, you can email. It doesn't mean I can do it right away. It just so happened I was ready and able to do this request right away. But I will absolutely put it on my list and get to it as soon as I can. I really appreciate you all watching and subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for all your support. I will see you soon. Peace, love, sewing.